Have you ever told a woman something personal and immediately regretted it? Maybe it was a deep insecurity, a past mistake, or a moment of weakness. You thought being open would bring you closer, only to watch her eyes change, her energy shift, and the way she looked at you never quite the same again. The truth is, not all honesty is good honesty. Women may say they want full transparency, but what they really respond to is strength, stability, and mystery. Some things, once revealed, can damage attraction, erode respect, and even push her away. In this video, I'm going to break down 9 things a man should never tell his woman. Because in relationships, what you don't say can be just as important as what you do. Let's get into it. Number 1. Your deepest fears. Every man has fears. Some fear failure, others fear being alone. Maybe your biggest fear is losing her, but here's the truth. Fear is an internal war, not something to be shared openly. If you pour out your deepest anxieties to her, you make her the keeper of your emotional stability. And that is a burden she was never meant to carry. In the beginning, she might listen. She might hold you close and tell you that she understands, that she appreciates your vulnerability, that she loves you for opening up. And in that moment, it may feel like you're doing the right thing, like you're deepening the connection by letting her see the rawest parts of you. But over time, something begins to shift. That comfort she gave you, it starts to feel more like obligation. She may not say it out loud, but a part of her begins to wonder, is he the man I can lean on? Or am I the one who always has to hold him up? Here's the hard truth. A woman wants to feel safe with her man. She wants to know that no matter what happens, he is the one thing in her life that won't crumble under pressure. The moment she starts seeing you as someone who needs her reassurance more than he provides it, the balance of attraction shifts. She may not even realize it herself at first, but respect begins to erode. And when respect fades, desire follows. Because at her core, a woman craves a man who is strong, not just physically, but emotionally. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Fear is nothing but a trick of the mind, a shadow that only grows when you give it attention. And when you allow fear to dictate your words and actions, when you let your anxieties spill out in the hopes that she will soothe them, you are, in essence, placing your sense of security in her hands. That's not leadership. That's not strength. That's surrender. Imagine a storm raging outside. The wind is howling, rain is pounding against the windows, and thunder shakes the ground beneath you. In that moment, a woman doesn't want to look into the eyes of a man who is just as scared as she is. She wants to see a man who stands firm, unshaken, a rock in the middle of the chaos. She wants to know that no matter how fierce the storm gets, she can trust him to remain steady. This is what separates men who are admired from men who are merely tolerated. Strength isn't about never feeling fear. It's about mastering it. It's about being the kind of man who moves forward despite it, who carries himself with quiet assurance. And that assurance, that is what makes a woman feel safe, drawn to you, unable to pull away. So the next time you feel the urge to pour out your deepest fears to her, pause. Ask yourself, am I seeking comfort, or am I seeking control over my own mind? Because the man who seeks comfort will always depend on others for his strength, but the man who seeks control, he becomes unshakable. And an unshakable man is a man who never has to fear losing her in the first place. Number 2, the extent of your independence. Every woman says she wants a man who makes her a priority. But the moment she feels like she is your entire world, attraction dies. Why? Because women are drawn to men who have a mission, a purpose beyond them. When a man loses himself in a woman, when his life orbits entirely around her, she may not say it outright, but she will feel it. And that feeling kills desire. She may even start testing you, pulling away, acting indifferent, just to see if you'll chase. And the moment you do, The moment she realizes that your happiness hinges entirely on her, she will start to lose respect for you. The mistake most men make is revealing this secret too soon. Telling her outright, "You're not the center of my world," might sound logical, even honest. But logic doesn't drive attraction. Energy does. If she feels like she's competing with your purpose, she will want you more. If she feels like she already has all of you, the challenge is gone. And without challenge, there is no desire. Marcus Aurelius believed that a man should be guided by his own principles, not by the expectations of others. He didn't need to declare his purpose to those around him. He simply lived it. The same applies to you. A man who walks his path with certainty never needs to explain it. When you remain steadfast in your goals, when your actions, not your words, show that you have a life beyond her, she will respect you for it. So what's the lesson here? Never tell her this secret about yourself. Never say, "I can't live without you," or "You're my everything." Not because you don't care, but because a woman doesn't want to be your purpose. She wants to admire you for having one. Show her that your life is moving forward with or without her. And watch how she leans in, drawn by the gravity of a man who is truly in control of himself. At this point, take a moment to reflect. Are you living for yourself, or are you unknowingly making someone else the center of your world? A woman admires a man who is grounded in his purpose, not one who seeks validation through her attention. So ask yourself, are your actions aligned with your own mission? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree that a man's independence fuels attraction? Or if you're ready to make a commitment to your own path, simply comment, "I choose purpose over validation." Number 3. The women you've desired before her. A common mistake men make is thinking that openness about past relationships builds trust. It doesn't. In fact, it does the opposite. No woman wants to feel like she's competing with your past. The more she knows about your previous desires, conquests, or heartbreaks, the more insecure she may feel. Even if she doesn't say it, deep down she wonders, am I really enough for him? And that's a dangerous place for your relationship to be. When a woman starts questioning whether she is the best you've ever had, she doesn't just doubt the relationship, she starts doubting herself. That doubt turns into resentment, comparisons, and an emotional distance that's hard to bridge. Think about it. If you tell her about an ex who made you feel a certain way, or about a past love that changed you, she might smile and say she understands. But deep inside, those words stick. She replays them, measuring herself against a woman she's never even met. Even if you mean no harm, even if your past is truly behind you, now you've planted a seed of doubt. And doubt, once it takes root, is hard to remove. Epictetus advised, keep your affairs to yourself. That's not deception, it's wisdom. A wise man understands that some truths do more harm than good. Not every thought needs to be spoken. Not every past experience needs to be shared. Your past belongs to you, and it should stay that way. The only thing that truly matters is how you treat her. Right now, in the present. If you want her to feel secure, don't make her compete with memories. Don't let her feel like just another name on a list. A woman wants to feel like she is the only one who matters, that no one before her and no one after could ever compare. That feeling isn't created through words, it's built through action. A man who keeps a sense of mystery commands respect. He doesn't feel the need to overshare or prove anything. He understands that his woman doesn't need to hear about his past to trust him. She needs to feel his presence, his certainty, his unwavering focus on her. In relationships, less is often more. The less she knows about your past, the more she can focus on the present. The less she worries about the women who came before her, the more she can feel safe in her place beside you. So don't fall into the trap of thinking that complete honesty means revealing every detail of your history. Real honesty isn't about the past. It's about being fully committed to the woman in front of you. Keep your past where it belongs, and watch how much stronger your relationship becomes. Number 4. Your exact thoughts on her friends. Let's be honest. Not all of her friends are going to be likable. Some may be negative influences, others may disrespect your relationship. But openly criticizing them? That's a battle you don't want to fight. If you tell her, "I don't like your friend," she won't see it as a logical statement. She'll take it personally, because in her mind, her friends reflect her choices. Instead of changing the situation, you create unnecessary tension. And once you plant that seed of disapproval, she won't forget it. Even if she eventually sees what you see, she'll remember that you were against her judgment. When was the last time someone forced you to see things their way, and you happily agreed? Probably never. People resist being told they made a mistake, especially when emotions are involved. Telling a woman outright that her friend is a problem makes her feel like she has to choose between you and them. And more often than not, she'll defend them, even if deep down she knows they might not be the best company. The art of diplomacy is a Stoic skill. A man who knows when to speak and when to stay silent holds more power than one who reacts emotionally. As Seneca wisely said, "Better to trip with the feet than with the tongue." Words spoken in frustration can do more harm than good. If her friend is a bad influence, the key is not to lash out or demand change, but to remain composed and intentional. Focus on what you can control: your presence, your energy, your standards. Lead by example. The moment you try to force your perspective, you lose control and invite unnecessary conflict. A man of wisdom knows that influence comes not from loud opinions, but from quiet strength. Instead of attacking her friends directly, let your actions speak, be strategic, set boundaries, and lead the relationship with quiet authority. If her friend disrespects your relationship, you don't have to declare war. Simply disengage, set a standard through your behavior, and remain unshaken. In time, she'll notice the contrast. She'll see how you carry yourself, how you navigate relationships, and she'll make the connection herself. And when she does, it will be her choice, not something you forced upon her. A woman respects a man who moves with wisdom, not impulse. She wants to feel that the man she's with doesn't let petty conflicts shake him, that he's centered in his own values. If you explode in frustration or criticize her circle openly, it makes you look insecure, as if you see her friends as a threat rather than an external factor that doesn't define you. But if you stay composed, she'll start questioning things herself. She'll wonder, why doesn't he engage with this drama? What does he see that I don't? Never tell her this secret, that you don't like her friend. Instead, show her through patience, presence, and the unshakable confidence that defines a truly strong man. The goal isn't to control her choices. It's to be the kind of man whose energy naturally influences those around him. In the end, she'll respect you more for your restraint than for any argument you could have made. Now that we've explored the power of restraint and patience in handling situations with her friends, I want to hear from you. Reflect on a time when you managed a challenging relationship dynamic with wisdom and composure. How did your actions speak louder than words? Or if you haven't had that moment yet, commit to practicing this Stoic approach. Next time you're faced with a similar situation, leave a comment below with the sentence, "I will lead with wisdom, not impulse." I'd love to know how you plan to bring this strategy into your own life. Number 5. Your moments of weakness. Every man has moments of self-doubt, times when life beats him down and he questions everything. But here's the thing, how you handle those moments defines you. And there's one truth you should never forget. Never tell your woman this secret about you, the depth of your uncertainty. It's not that you should be dishonest, but understand this. When you pour every insecurity into her lap, you unknowingly shift the dynamic. A woman desires a man she can trust, someone she can look up to, not a man who constantly seeks reassurance like a lost boy in need of direction. The moment you make your struggles her responsibility, you place a weight on her that she's not meant to carry. And whether she realizes it or not, she starts to see you differently. Strength isn't about never feeling weak. It's about never letting weakness define you. True resilience is found in how you rise, not how you crumble. As Seneca once said, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. The battles you fight within yourself are not obstacles to be feared, but weights to be lifted. Challenges that make you stronger. They are yours to face, yours to conquer. The moment you expect someone else, especially the woman in your life, to carry them for you, you surrender the very thing that makes you a leader. Your self-command. Picture this. Two men, both struggling with failure. One constantly voices his doubts, explaining to his woman why he's overwhelmed, why he feels lost, why life is unfair. He seeks comfort, hoping she'll lift him up. At first, she sympathizes. She reassures him. But over time, something shifts. She starts to feel less safe with him, less drawn to him. Not because she lacks empathy, but because deep inside, a woman wants a man she can trust to stand firm when life gets tough. Now, the other man? He feels the same struggles. But instead of unloading them, he takes ownership. He steps back, processes his emotions, and then does something about them. He finds solutions instead of dwelling on problems. He doesn't need to tell his woman he's strong, his actions prove it. His presence reassures her without words. She looks at him and knows, this is a man I can rely on. That's the difference. That's what separates the men who lead from the men who seek to be saved. Instead of unloading your doubts, channel them. Use your moments of self-doubt as fuel. Train harder, work smarter, improve yourself. Move in silence, and let your results speak louder than your fears ever could. Because at the end of the day, your strength isn't proven by words. It's proven by who you become. And if there's one thing you should remember, it's this. A woman doesn't fall in love with a man because he has no struggles. She falls in love with a man who faces them without losing himself. Number 6. The times you've considered walking away. At some point, every man has questioned a relationship. Maybe she did something that made you rethink everything. Maybe you just needed space. That's natural. But here's where a lot of men go wrong. They let their emotions take the wheel, and they say something they can never take back. Telling her, I've thought about leaving, doesn't just shake her. It plants a seed of doubt that never truly goes away. You might think you're being honest, but what you're really doing is making her question the foundation of your relationship. And once a woman feels like she's standing on shaky ground, her trust, her security, and even her attraction start to erode. A woman should always feel a healthy level of mystery and unpredictability, but she should never feel like she's constantly one misstep away from losing you. That's not a power move, that's emotional chaos. It creates fear, not passion. It makes her anxious, not drawn to you. A Stoic man understands this. He doesn't act on fleeting emotions. He doesn't turn a moment of doubt into a dramatic scene. Instead, he observes, he reflects, and he controls his own mind before opening his mouth. A Stoic knows that words carry weight. Once spoken, they can't be unheard. Think of it like this. Imagine you're walking on a bridge, and every day, you notice a small crack forming. You mention it in passing, but then one day, the whole bridge collapses. Telling your woman you've considered leaving is like hammering at those cracks. You might not see the damage right away, but eventually, the foundation breaks. Distance creates value, but it must be done with control, not chaos. If you need space, take it with quiet confidence. If you're questioning things, process those thoughts internally first. Don't dump them on her just to relieve your own uncertainty. A strong man, a Stoic man, navigates his emotions with discipline. And when he does that, he remains the anchor in her life, not the storm that keeps her guessing. If you've made it this far, I encourage you to take a moment and reflect on the importance of maintaining emotional control in relationships. Have you ever found yourself on the verge of saying something you might regret, just to relieve your own emotions? How do you navigate doubt without letting it affect the foundation of your connection? Leave a comment sharing your thoughts, or simply drop a sentence. Control my emotions to protect my peace, as a commitment to moving forward with intentionality. Number 7, your ultimate ambitions. Every man has dreams. Maybe you want to build a business, achieve financial freedom, or sculpt yourself into the strongest version of who you can be. These ambitions fuel you, give you direction, and shape the man you're becoming. But there's a mistake many men make that sabotages their progress without them even realizing it. They talk too much about their plans before they actually achieve anything. Why is this a problem? Because words alone mean nothing. You can tell a woman all about your grand vision for the future, the empire you plan to build, the body you want to develop, or the success that's just around the corner. But none of it exists yet. And until it does, all you've done is create an illusion of accomplishment. She might nod, smile, and listen. But deep down, she's waiting to see if you're a man who follows through, or just another guy who talks big and delivers little. Women don't fall for potential, they respect action. A man in motion is infinitely more attractive than a man making endless promises. A woman is naturally drawn to certainty, to a man who doesn't just speak about his dreams, but silently builds them. When you constantly talk about your goals before they materialize, you drain the most powerful force you have: mystery. Epictetus said, "Do not explain your philosophy, embody it." A Stoic man understands this deeply. He doesn't seek validation through words. He lets his actions speak louder than anything he could say. Imagine two men. One constantly tells his woman how he's going to get in shape, start a business, and change his life. The other, he just wakes up every day, goes to the gym, grinds at his work, and improves himself without making an announcement. Who do you think she respects more? Who do you think she trusts more? The world, and especially women, don't reward potential. They reward execution. A man who moves with quiet confidence, who doesn't feel the need to announce every step, is far more attractive than a man who spills his plans and waits for validation. When you talk too much about what you will do, you cheapen the impact of actually doing it. You make it easy for people to assume you're all talk. Number 8, the full picture of your emotional state. One of the most misunderstood aspects of relationships is emotional expression. Society constantly tells men, be vulnerable, share your emotions, open up. And while there's some truth in this advice, it's often delivered without nuance. Because here's the reality. Uncontrolled emotional expression weakens a man's presence in a relationship. This doesn't mean you should be emotionally dead or unfeeling. Women appreciate a man who can express himself. But what they are truly drawn to is a man who has control over his emotions. The difference between a man who shares his emotions wisely and a man who overshares is night and day. A woman doesn't want to feel like she's responsible for regulating your emotions. She wants to feel safe with you, not like she has to be your therapist. When a woman is with a man, she is subconsciously assessing one critical question. Can I rely on him when things get tough? If you constantly unload your emotions onto her, she won't feel like you're her protector. Instead, she'll feel like she's the one protecting you. And that dynamic erodes attraction over time. Imagine this scenario. You've had a terrible day. Your boss disrespected you. Your coworkers were insufferable. And you're mentally exhausted. You come home, and the first thing you do is dump all your frustration onto your woman, venting about how unfair everything is, how stressed you are, and how badly you need her comfort. At first she might be sympathetic. She'll listen, maybe rub your back, and tell you things will be okay. But if this becomes a habit, if you repeatedly turn to her as your emotional safety net, something subtle yet powerful begins to shift. she will subconsciously start seeing you as someone who lacks control over his emotions. The safe, strong, grounded presence she once admired in you will begin to feel shaky. Instead of being her rock, you become an emotional burden she has to carry. She may not even realize it consciously, but her attraction will start to fade, replaced by an unspoken weight she never signed up for. And when that happens, no amount of verbal reassurance will bring back the respect you've lost. A Stoic man is a fortress. He feels everything, but is controlled by nothing. This is the essence of true strength. Stoicism doesn't teach men to suppress emotions. It teaches them to master them. A man who can navigate his emotions with composure commands respect, attraction, and trust. A woman may not always be able to articulate it, but she instinctively gravitates toward a man who stands firm, no matter the storm around him. When life gets tough, when you feel overwhelmed, don't dump every raw emotion onto her the moment it arises. Instead, process them, master them, and respond with calm strength. Find other outlets, a trusted mentor, a disciplined workout, journaling, or even moments of deep reflection, to channel your emotions before bringing them into the relationship. Because here's the truth. A woman doesn't need to know every fear, doubt, or insecurity that crosses your mind. She doesn't need a play-by-play of every emotional struggle you face. What she needs is to feel safe with you. She needs to know that no matter what happens, you are a steady presence in her life. That's the kind of man she can trust, respect, and admire, not because he's emotionally unavailable, but because he has the strength to carry his burdens without crumbling under their weight. Be the fortress, not the flood. Number 9. The exact way you feel about her right now. This one may surprise you. After all, isn't it good to be completely open about how much you love her? The answer: not always. Here's why. Predictability kills attraction. If a woman knows exactly where she stands with you at all times, the mystery disappears. And when there's no mystery, there's no excitement. It's human nature to value what feels just out of reach, to be drawn toward what we must work for. The moment she feels like she has you completely figured out, the fire starts to fade. Not because she doesn't care, but because certainty removes the thrill. Think about it. Why do people chase dreams, climb mountains, and pursue goals that require effort? Because the unknown excites us. The possibility of failure makes success meaningful. The same principle applies to attraction. If she knows you love her deeply, but also senses that your love is not something to be taken for granted, she will cherish it more. This doesn't mean withholding affection or playing games. A woman should never feel unwanted or insecure about where she stands with you. But she should also feel inspired, motivated to continue being the woman who captivates you. The moment she feels like there's no effort required, no need to keep showing up as her best self, things become stale. A Stoic man understands that love, like anything of value, should be earned and maintained over time. The moment you start flooding her with constant verbal reassurances, telling her every day in the same way that you love her, that you need her, that you can't live without her, you strip away the magic. Words lose their weight when they are overused. Love should be something she feels deeply through your presence, your consistency, and your standards, not something she hears in a rehearsed, predictable manner. Imagine a king who constantly tells his people, "I am powerful, I am strong, you can trust me." At first they might believe him, but over time, his words become noise. True strength doesn't need to be announced. It is felt in his actions, in the way he carries himself, in the way he leads. The same applies to love. A woman respects a man who shows rather than tells. So, what's the secret? It's not about hiding your love, but about revealing it in a way that keeps her intrigued. Give her the gift of admiration, but don't make it so predictable that she stops noticing. Let her see that your affection isn't a routine obligation, but something she continually earns, not through manipulation, but through the natural energy of a relationship where both partners inspire each other. Let her wonder a little. Let her feel the warmth of your commitment, but also let her sense that she is with a man of depth, a man she cannot fully figure out, a man whose love is valuable because it is given with intention, not desperation. That's what keeps the fire alive. Gentlemen, attraction isn't about deception. It's about self-mastery. It's about holding your frame, knowing when to speak, and when to let your silence do the talking. A man who overshares, who spills his thoughts carelessly, weakens his power. A man who moves with quiet confidence, who leads through action rather than empty words, and who understands the art of restraint. That's the man women truly crave. So, take a step back. Reflect. Are you speaking to fill the silence? Are you revealing too much, hoping she'll see your value? Or are you choosing your words with precision, with purpose, with the discipline of a man who knows his worth? Because here's the truth. The way you handle your secrets, the way you control your tongue, determines how a woman perceives you. She doesn't admire a man who seeks validation. She respects a man who doesn't need it. In a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, be the man who stands apart, the man who speaks less, yet says more with his actions. The man whose presence is felt, not because he demands attention, but because he carries himself with quiet strength. That's what separates a leader from a follower. That's what makes a woman's mind linger long after you've left the room. If this resonated with you, if you're ready to embrace the power of discipline and self-restraint, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more Stoic wisdom, and drop a comment below. Which of these secrets do you think is the hardest to keep? Let's build a community of men who understand that true strength isn't in words. It's in presence, in patience, in the ability to hold your frame, no matter what. So now, take this knowledge, apply it, and step into the world as the man you were meant to be. Stay composed, stay disciplined, move with purpose, and be the man she respects, not because you demand it, but because you embody it.